Call this July 13th, Brown County Commission meeting to order. Commissioner Weiss, will you lead us to the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning.
Morning.
First item, we have the approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, we have a couple first readings on a rezone ordinance 199 and a rezone ordinance 200.
We have proposed ordinance 199. This one is a mini egg rezone. Applicant Lindell Delman. Legal address is Lot 1, Bagley subdivision in the northwest quarter of Section 2, T1.4 North, R61 west of the 6th PM. Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Sutton to approve the first reading of rezone ordinance 199. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have proposed ordinance 200. This one is also a mini egg rezone. Applicant Matt Oswald, looking to go from agricultural preservation district to mini egg. Legal address is the south 707 feet of the west 701 feet of the northwest quarter of section 7, T123 north, R61 west of the 6th PM.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley to authorize the first reading of rezone ordinance 200. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Brown County Employee Union Contract.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this has to do with the resolution down below to appoint Lisa Marceau as limited deputy state's attorney and the fee agreement. So this is just basically state's attorney's office does limited stuff with the union contract, and that is kind of Lisa Marceau's area of specialty is employment law. And so we are just going to contract with her to assist us with the union contract.
Essentially, labor law and employment law is a very specialized field in the practice of law. She's an expert or experienced labor law, employment law attorney, and hence the reason for the resolution to appoint her as a limited deputy state's attorney for the limited purpose of union labor law issues.
Well, it's cheaper than hiring our own attorney just for that contract. I would move it.
Seconded.
We got a motion by Kipley, a second by Sutton to approve the resolution to hire Lisa, what was the last name?
Marceau.
To represent us in our union, employee union contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Kathy, do you need anything else?
Nope, I think we're okay. Maybe a copy of that fee schedule.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, those, the payment for those services will come out of the state attorney's office.
Yeah.
Come out of the state attorney's budget.
I don't know, Dirk, can you handle being on time again, twice in a month?
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
We might have to rearrange some things the rest of the day, but we can work it out.
Sunshine.
Next item, we have Dirk Rogers, Highway Superintendent, right away for Northern Electric, and Janine Rather.
Yeah, the two right-of-ways, the first one's for Northern Electric, and it's out there. You telling me I didn't bring it? It's out there, it's 1 mile before you get to Road 6 on 13 there. You know, in between where we put the new bridge in and where the houses start up there, and they're just burying some of the existing lines. They're just taking it from above ground and burying some of it. And they've been doing it in little pieces, I think. So this is a service to one of those houses that they're gonna bury there. I don't see any problem with it.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley, to approve a right-of-way for Northern Electric. All in favor?
Aye.
Get a nap
Opposed?
this afternoon or something.
Motion carries.
The other one is for, it's up on Road 9. Right here. And they're actually tapping on by Donnie Hines' farm and just pouring under the road to put, water for cattle on the other side. It's right there's pasture and they got a few cattle up there and they're just gonna hook on over there and bore under the road to get water over to the cattle, because whatever, you might shock you, but wherever they got their water was dried up, so.
Second. Moved by Weiss, second by Piker, to approve right-of-way for Webb Water.
No, that one is actually for Schmidt's doing the work, the right-of-way is actually for Rathers, they're just hiring him to go under there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm gonna give you, okay, I'm done with that, unless you guys wanna talk about it more. I'm moving on to department update now. This is a little schedule for that microservicing project. There's not a lot of information here. My main thing in giving this to you is, first off, instead of starting on Wednesday like it says, they're gonna start Friday. Okay, so they'll start on Friday and it's gonna be about a 10-day deal, provided the weather doesn't hold them up. But as you can see, they're doing rut filling on 14 first, and then they go and do a scratch course over on Brown County 6, and then they go to do a scratch course over at 13 and 14. And the only reason I'm pointing this out is so if anybody calls you and asks you what the hell kind of crap the county's doing, like they did when we tried to do the level up section on the Prairiewood Road, and people thought that we were getting screwed there, this is going to be the same thing. So there's going to be a little piece they're going to do up on 6, and then they're going to go and do, so there's about 4 locations, as you can see here, where they're going to jump around and do little bits, and then once they get that all done, they'll go back to the beginning, and they'll do the whole 17 miles, okay? So that's my main thing, is people start calling you and go, that's what we get, because they'll come into an area, they'll do something, and then they'll leave, okay? But they'll be coming back. So that's my main point. It should just only take about 10 days. We'll have a little bit of a gap in there while you wait for the stuff to cure before it gets striped. And
My guess is the scratch is for something for the material that they put on to hang on to.
Yeah. There's a few spots where either there's enough deflection in the road where you got to kind of smooth it up, and because of that, as you would imagine, it's not going to stick to a bunch of little patches and stuff like that. The roads that we're doing this on are pretty good, but there are a few spots, and you know, I hope it works. But,
People say scratch. What are they scratching?
Right.
We're doing it ourselves.
No, we farmed this out.
Who's doing it?
Aztec is the name of the company, and it's a fairly specialized thing. I don't know if you remember, we had 2 bidders. One was Aztec from St. Cloud, and the other bidder was from Wisconsin, I believe. So I'm hoping this works, and it seems to. The state does some of it. Way more popular in Iowa and Minnesota than it is here.
Just trying to stabilize some problem spots
Yep.
before you do an overlay.
Yep, exactly.
I'm looking at a total of 16 miles for all these.
Yeah, it's green stuff.
Okay.
So start up where the good road starts up here, the gravel part, and then come south all the way down to US 12, and so from 6 all the way over to 281, and then starting at north side there and up to the bridge by the water plant.
So it's a primary, how would I say it, the primary result of this is to not just seal the cracks, but also to increase the wear more
Yep.
than anything else, because you're not really strengthening the
No.
road bed, you're sealing the cracks and creating a better wear surface.
Right, it's, like I said before, it's sort of like a high-test chip seal. So you're going to get more than you do with the chip seal, but just like with the chip seal, unless you put down pen chip seals over 30 years, then you might get some structure in there, but you're not, you know, a chip seal is exactly what it says, it's a seal. And actually, the only reason you put chips in a chip seal is, well, one, keep it off of people's cars, but to add a little more wear course in there. The actual goal of a chip seal all comes from the oil. You just want to seal off the top of the road.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, anyway, that's what that is. I'm kind of excited. I hope it works because a little bit in that narrative I wrote the other day, I comment on our chip sealing in there, and so this is another way that I'm trying to put some of that to a contractor, perhaps get a little bit of a specialty item out of it, and we'll just keep concentrating on our paving and maybe do a little less chip sealing and, you know, try to find a balance in there. But we'll see.
Is this particular micro surfacing got a little longer life than what chip
Yep.
sealing would?
Yep, hopefully, yes. And we'll see, these are pretty high volume roads, so we're gonna know pretty quick. If the safest thing to do would have been to go, 9 miles west of nowhere and do this, and then hope that it works and go from there, but, we can't really afford to do that sometimes. But I'm pretty confident. We've done some research. This isn't a super crazy,
It's been done.
yeah, it's been done, we just haven't done it. Well, the cold in place was another one,
Yeah.
and that, that's been adequate when you look at what that costs compared to having to pave the whole thing, so. And then after you put this, my ultimate goal is the next time we do a cold in place, and that's provided that the microsurfacing pans out, I want to do a cold in place and then just do the microsurfacing right after it, and make it all one project. There's a lot of value in there, and I'm getting close enough, I'm not gonna have to worry about long-term, so.
Just a minute, let me turn this off.
Remind me what that quote, what did we pay for
It's
those
like-
16 miles?
It's like 804,000,
104,000 for 16 miles.
yep, of that process. Now, you have to be a little more careful with this, and, just like with cold in place, both of these processes are pretty specific to the road you're doing them on, right? I'm not gonna do these, probably aren't gonna do these things in other locations. So that's something you have to keep in mind. If somebody sees that and says, oh boy, you can do this for this, and we'll go out here and do that, well, there's a little more to that. Whereas chip sealing, you can pretty much chip seal anything, whether even if it's gravel or pavement or whatever. So.
It makes a difference on the current status of the surface that you're
Yep,
applying it to,
what you're
whether
starting
it's
with.
going to be effective or not.
Yeah, it's pretty cliche, but the right process on the right road, and that's kind of what it is.
I just thought it was very telling in your notes and your narrative about, theoretically, we should be chip sealing 70 miles every year, and we're only getting to 45 of them.
Yep.
And so every year, we're losing ground, which kind of speaks to why I appreciated you sending the map with the pink and maroon of what
Yep.
we've upgraded to gravel, as you put it. But, yeah, so hopefully this works well, and, I don't know what the long-term answer is, though, because you might leave, but some of us might be here still, so.
I'm being a little facetious there, but,
They haven't
I-
all been asphalt forever, but they have
No.
been for a long time.
yeah, and they have, and there's, I gotta be honest, like, when I drew that map out, I'm like, wow, how the heck did we get this much?
Well, I was trying to
This
count how
far.
many miles that
It's
is.
about 130, I think, when you add in,
And then
up at, Sable, that's the latest one. Now, I put,
130 have went from pavement to gravel in the last 2 decades.
since 99. 99 was when that started in earnest.
20 years.
How many,
And then-
130?
Yeah, and technology, as corny as this is about to sound, the technology and how you do that has just completely blown up. There's a whole segment of the industry now that's into different levels of recycling and all the different stuff you can do. I know for a fact, and I won't name her, but one of the former commissioners and I, just went constantly, like every week, and I got along with her well, but man, was so against milling, just absolutely. And I said, well, what's your alternative? I'm wide open to any alternatives. That's why we're trying some of this other stuff, with the cold in place and the microsurfacing, but I just haven't come up with a good, in general, like I comment in there, I know how the funding works, right? It doesn't even matter if you get something through the legislature where there's no money to just all of a sudden, well, here's $10 million, you know, that's not gonna happen, so I'm trying to get it to kind of match, what we have there, so.
Yeah, and philosophically, you know, the county system should be kind of in between the state system, you know, as a feeder and stuff, and this graphically illustrates what we all know is, you know, the gift that we got decades ago from the state when they, you know, realigned the state highways,
Sure.
is county roads that have enough volume on them that, you know, take up a significant amount of your attention in your budget that are a mile off state highways.
Yep.
But they still have enough traffic on them that it's important that we maintain them at a high level. And it puts a lot of pressure on trying to keep everything else up. So,
The thing that I find kind of interesting to your comment right there is, of course, the old highway was there, and that's way, way back, okay? We're not blaming
Yep.
anybody for it.
Yeah, no, it's just the way
It's the way it is. But all the development was along those roads, and then we realigned and made a better deal, and you got a 4-lane, I'm just thinking of 281 and 10 going
Yep.
north. Well, so not only do you have the people that originally lived or built or dug, as an example, on that road.
communities along those roads. Yeah.
In addition to that, then they put the highway over a mile, and then every section line in between the old one and the new one, somebody started popping up little developments in there, you
Yep.
know? So, I'm not, you know, I gotta be careful, because I never wanna, I'm trying to manage having those roads right next to the state highway. But at the same time, I sit here and go, well, how much has that traffic actually changed?
Yep.
And we sit there, every time someone from Mina calls and complains about the last mile on 12W, we're always going, well, why don't you go use the state highway? Things like that. But yeah, that's, I don't know, we're getting way off the base.
No, but it's where we are. It's something, you know, that's part of the understanding of what our situation is.
So what has that changed in our structure as far as what we used to always say we had 450 miles of pavement and 250 miles of gravel. How has that changed that structure by?
We're still like, we still have the most asphalt in the state, but we're like 415, 405, something like that. And then what, 660 minus 415 is 220, or 215? Well, I'm not doing math right here, 245, I guess. So we have 660, right there.
Roughly 400 and 250.
Yeah. This isn't paved and milled or anything, this is the federal aid roads and the non-federal aid roads. And what's, I can't see all the way up there, but 253 is the red and 415. Actually, believe it or not, that's really close to what the milling is, but we have about 415 asphalt and 240 or so of
Gravel.
gravel, yep. The other interesting thing about that map was, and I'm open to, I'm mostly looking at Dennis and Mike because I can't think of any other asphalt that was added to the system, which is part of my argument, obviously. But other than the blotter job at Richmond and then part of 12W when we realigned that, but at the same time we got rid of a bridge, so, you know, that big overhead went away, but then we had some road there, and then...
Yeah, we got the state to do that when they were doing
Yep.
their own realignment, so they helped us.
Yeah, that, I mean, that wasn't
Yeah.
a costly deal at all. And then, of course, the frontage road, which you guys, there was a or, you know, there was a give and take there.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, so that's what I'm saying, and then the landfill road, we did completely in-house, design, everything, and then that turned out, well, now we have an elevator out there, which reminds me, I will get you a report on the crossing out there.
Thank you.
But there, what is that, 4 miles, I think, of new stuff? And all but the Richmond drives, there was other circumstances surrounding how they ended up getting paved, you know? So, mostly that's perspective, and that was my goal, I think, of that little narrative. I try not to be too crabby in there. It was headed that way, and I figured, I better back up a little bit. But
Reality creeps in.
well, that, and, yeah, yes, exactly. So anyway, that was my thing with that. If you want more information, I've communicated with both the contractors that gave you numbers. As much as I don't want to tell you, the county can do it pretty good chunk cheaper than what those quotes are if we did it. I don't want to do it, but
But you
I
have to
have to
have,
be-
you
I
have to
have
have
to be
the
honest.
time
Yep, I have to be honest, and
to put it in the schedule, and that means you juggle what you got for staffing in order to do that and still do the rest of it.
Well, I'm not opposed to doing something out there, I just feel like it needs to be part of a bigger plan. Because when we went out there, we all heard the frustrations of the folks living there, one of which has joined us today, but part of it is some of those roads never should have been county roads.
Yeah.
North Shore Drive, you know. So I think what we need to do is aid them, because obviously there's the will to put more money into it and somehow, and I know it's gonna take a lot of time and effort on this body and state's attorney and yours, but how do we take that project and turn it into, you know, a taxing district where they can put money into their own? And, because I think the comment was made out there that we have more houses and more people here than what's living in Warner. Well, Warner's a municipality. They do their own side streets and this and that, and maybe it's time that's what Richmond needs to do as well, is kind of come together and say, this is some of these side roads that we need to do instead of the county doing all of it. And I'm not opposed to investing some money into helping them get there, but then maybe they take it over, and I don't know what that looks like. I'm sure it's a lot of work, but we can't be the first ones that have done it, or they, you know, do that.
I mean, I can certainly start down the path. I have a couple times, and you get a couple steps into it, and certainly not a shot against Ross, because we even touched base on different things here a little bit. But I get about 2 steps into it, and then I'm like, I don't know who the hell to call to ask the question to.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's a, you know, if we're gonna start from zero and just loft off some softballs and see what we can find
Well, I
out.
So for instance, when the state gave us the side roads,
Okay?
they dangled it in front of us, they offered over $1 million, and we were like, yeah, we'll take that cash up front and we'll take that road. How do we turn that around and say, what would make it worth it to the
I
folks
see.
at Richmond, for us to upgrade something for them, and then they take ownership of it, or get their own taxing district? So we need to kind of mirror what was done here to the next level.
The one hiccup we have there is transferring road jurisdiction. That's gonna be the
A process.
Yeah, because, and I don't think it's going to be like, you'll get the book out and you do 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna be a little bit of a hybrid situation if we're gonna get from where we are today to something that's like that. Don't interpret anything I'm saying as I would certainly, are you kidding me? That would be my dream. I gotta be honest. But, I really have some reservations going all the way back when we met with the Richmond folks the first time that we did those other ones. A lot of road district talk came up and a lot of different things like that. And there are gonna be some legal issues or whatever in getting there, because once those roads are on a county system, it's not just on Monday, you know, I said that before,
Yeah.
on Monday they're not here and Tuesday
Lot of
they're
work.
this. There's gonna be kind of a process, there's gonna be probably some good faith things in there, so on and so forth. Having said that, let's say that that's a complete fail. Let's say that we're just, because of that, we can't figure it out. I don't know that you couldn't, through agreements, and, you know, Ross is gonna roll his eyes on me, but you could delineate, God, I don't wanna reference a TIF, but just like a district, just like...
We have done things like that.
Yeah, where you just define, here's an area, and then you have an agreement within that area. I mean, it's gonna get really convoluted and whatever, but
If there's a will.
I was just gonna say that without trying to be cliche. If that's ultimately the goal, you'll get there, because that's what everybody would want. But I think logically to start with is to figure out, okay, can we vacate or transfer or do something to get to that point? But yeah, I'll look into that a little bit and see if I can...
But I think that takes a lot of organization on
yeah.
the folks at Richmond themselves, whether
Yep.
it's through the sanitary sewer district group, that they actually go to get involved in the township as far as how they might get those roads turned over to the township so that they can create a taxing authority or taxing district.
Trying to build a consensus is not an easy.
That's, that could take some time. It's not that it couldn't be done, because there is enough population at Richmond in order to accomplish that.
Yeah.
But if you go at it from the outside it's probably not gonna happen with the township. You're gonna have to come from the inside
Right.
of the folks that actually live at Richmond in order to take control of the township. Then they can make that happen.
Not only the population increase out there, but the assessed valuations of those properties out there, this would be mutually beneficial for them to have say in what that should look like. I mean, we're still gonna take care of those artery roads, 13A and 6, but it would really define, this is what we can do as part of that 5-year plan, and then they would have the ability to say, okay, these interior roads, what do we need to focus on, and have a voice on their own. I know it's gonna be a lot of work, but I don't know, where do you start? I'd be more than willing to help with it and do some research, but point me in the right direction of who to call and...
Well, if the cheapest, easiest, dirtiest way, I guess, is just vacate all the roads. If the county just vacated all the roads, you'd have to get a landowner that lives on them to start the process. But the county could just vacate all those roads and they'll go to the township. Like, today you guys can do that if you want. Well, that's a little bit...
Gotta advertise.
You gotta have the... But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
Right.
you really wanna just... But, I don't know putting that on a township is the solution that everyone's looking for out there either, but...
Well, they would almost force the Richmond to create a road district if you put it on the township, and
Yeah,
I can
that's-
guarantee you, the township doesn't have the funds to take care of the roads at Richmond. No, there isn't any township
No.
that has those kind of funds.
Well, no, the county doesn't have those funds, so...
I guess I'm certainly not thinking that we should force the
Yeah.
issue. I think it's something that needs to somehow be mutually, well, they've got their process. The townships have got their process of how they elect their supervisors and that. And again, it goes back to, it's gonna take time. It's not, I don't know if you can call a special meeting. Can the township call a special meeting to reorganize, I mean, I don't know. Could they do it this fall sometime rather than waiting until the township meeting this spring?
Well, they have,
In March.
townships have a meeting in October. They have a mandatory meeting in October.
For election of officers?
No, officers are only in March.
Annual meeting.
But I think that would have to be a part of it.
But if you, as a township, if you notify that it's a special meeting, you can do about anything in that special meeting if you've got an elected officer, or if you've got an officer that has passed away and you're trying to fill that vacancy, you can do that through special meetings. You just have to notice it.
But I mean, aside from the county vacating the roads and dumping them on the township, I mean, that'd be no different than a township coming in here to the county and dumping all their roads onto the county. I mean, isn't there a process there too?
They'd have to disorganize.
Yeah,
And then-
unorganized.
Right, and then, whatever funding that was going to those roads would come here, and we have to keep it separate, and then you use that just for those roads.
And that's where having conversation, continuing the conversation, to explore the possibilities and see who's interested in pursuing, whatever avenues that we can do that with. And I think you demonstrated appropriately what we all knew is that, you look at this on a holistic basis, the whole system and how it all ties together, and you've been very good about, we need more resources, but we have what we have, and we're gonna do what we can on a holistic basis to try and address the things as best that we can with that, but also the stark reality, and we talked about the valuations and so forth, is to look at them. It's easier by township to see just exactly what the valuations and with that mill levy, how much of what people pay in property taxes, which is substantial,
Sure.
the county actually gets for resources by those townships. And if something eventually does happen around the lake, it's actually going to encompass probably parts of 2 different townships.
Yep.
But, what the county actually receives from property taxes from those particular townships, and you can say 40% of it, would be contribution to the highway by the time we do law enforcement and everything else that the county's responsible for. And if you run the numbers, just looking at it that way, I think we spend that much and more in those particular townships, and we're not afraid to do that because of the concentration and the volume. But, when you look at it that way as well, it's pretty tough to say that we're not paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
But we're just trying to balance a lot of factors.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. And I didn't realize the number that Kathy threw out at that meeting, that 45% of the highway budget came from, isn't that what you said?
Of course, it fluctuates
Right, but I
roughly
mean-
depending.
but-
But yeah, I mean, if you got 9 million, it was
It's
3.5
usually-
transfer 4 million from the general fund.
Right,
Yeah.
so, I was trying to get that, no, that's the number that I was trying to come up with a way to see where we stood as far as, for lack of a better way of putting it, how committed the commission was to the highway department from a financial standpoint.
They're very committed.
Yeah, and that number really surprised me, because I know of 2 counties that have no general fund money. And so now just take the 9 million, or hopefully the 9.6 million that I requested for 2022, and take whatever 40% of that off, and that's the equivalent of what they're operating with, like what Pierre and Roberts are 2 that I heard, Hughes and Roberts are 2 that I know about. So when I tried asking everybody that question, that right there was the number I was trying to get. What part of the tax resources, or what, you know, goes to your highway department? And nobody's even close. I shouldn't say it
Yeah,
that way.
and that's just a really rough number.
No, and I understand that, but
So
it-
don't like publish 45%.
No, but if you're 5% either way of that still, or whatever. But, I mean, I would think a lot of counties are 10, 12, 15% of it, maybe.
We probably have one of the biggest general fund transfers in the state.
I would imagine.
I think you could safely make that.
Because when you, well, and this goes into Dennis's, we're too big to be small and too small to be big. When you get bigger than us, your wheel tax money goes through the roof, so Minnehaha and Lincoln and them aren't gonna have to.
Yeah, they have more vehicles and less miles that they're responsible for.
Right.
So
Anyway.
But no, thank you for putting all that info together, because I
Yep.
know that takes a lot of time off
Well,
of your
I was being
time on-
overly dramatic last week, but.
But I just, when you have landowners
You're good-
owners
you're
out
good
there who are
drama
willing
queen.
to donate another 20,000 or upwards of that, I think before we do the partnerships, which I'm still open to, but let's look at a bigger answer, and can we do this, and how much headache is it gonna take, time? Thank you.
Yeah.
Conversation will continue.
We're paving on 11 right now, working our way over to 281.
West of the bridge.
Yeah, so right now we're actually at Columbia. There's a 9/10 of a mile piece and a 7/10 of a mile piece we're doing between 14 and Columbia. And then the next 2 miles going over to the Hall Pit got done a few years ago, so that's good. And then basically from the Hall Pit, which is the area that, dang it, there's a farm up by Ordway. He came in the day, Matt.
Howells.
Howells.
Carrie.
That, he had pictures he had where that all blew up, we're getting that all fixed up, so that'll be this week and part of next week, and then we'll go down to 27. We got some stuff down there, and then hopefully we'll go up to Hecla, see what we can
Now,
get
that's
done east of
another,
Hecla.
it's hard to explain sometimes to the folks that are out there running those roads all the time. Why do they just do this little short stretch and then they
Yep.
leave it? It's because there isn't enough money to flow through the whole entire system and do it.
Yep. Doug actually did a good job of summarizing kind of the way I do it, which is if I go out to a road, and we were there 5 or 6 years ago, and we did some 3/4 mile pieces, and they're okay. I know it's not great that you're gonna have a bump on either end of it, but that's $120,000 worth of stuff sitting there, and if we can make it work, we're gonna skip over it, and so that's part of it. If you go up to 11 right now, go to Columbia, and you drive all the way to 281, and you look, you can figure out, we're gonna pave here, we're not gonna pave here, this is gonna get, this was milled up and stabilized, and then there's a little more to it, but that's putting a board stretcher on it, make it,
One other quick question.
Yep.
Rumbles that maybe the Mina project, the Mina Dam might not get done this year.
I haven't heard that.
I just wondered if
After the 4th of July, and it's not started.
where it's at, I wonder.
I talked to somebody that lived out there, and they said it looks like it's been postponed for a while. I don't know if it's gonna start.
Are they still dropping the water level?
No, they haven't dropped the water, but there seems to me, this person thought there was an engineering problem. And that's just from...
Really? Huh. That's always a shock.
Kind of what I was hearing too, but
I'm not elected, I'm all right.
Now, that doesn't come from anybody that's involved with the project. That
No.
comes from somebody that's out at Mina that must have some kind of a connection.
All we know is it's after the 4th of July, there's nothing moving.
Is that school and public lands too, isn't it?
No, that's Kingfisher
Oh, that's
Park.
Kingfisher Park, I keep forgetting that one up at
Yeah.
Allen's a different way.
Yep.
Okay.
That one up there is still moving along.
Yep, I sent you the last communication I got there, and he said they were behind on engineering a little bit, but not enough to where they thought it was gonna affect anything with the big time on it, so. And I had to send a special, notice that we would take care of. We keep plowing the road all the way over to the new spillway, so, what's her name can get out of the bottom there? Hickson.
Yeah.
Arlene, yep. So,
There's no shortage of little cross-jurisdictional things that pop
not
up.
at all. That's good though.
Yeah, it's a good.
Learn how
really
stuff
is.
works.
Everybody's playing nice, though.
Yep, for the most part. That's all I got.
Okay,
All right.
well, thank you, Bert.
You bet. Stay safe.
I'm good.
Carry on. Have a great day.
You as well. Easy.
Kathy, you want to take care of some of your stuff? I think that takes care of the agenda items, and we can have open discussion afterwards.
We have minutes from July 6th.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss to approve the general meeting minutes from July 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claims.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Weiss to approve the claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Fikert, second by Sutton to approve the HR report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Surplus to the landfill or old election poll book.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion by Sutton, second by Weiss to surplus the old election poll books at the landfill. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Emergency management quarterly report.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Weiss to approve the emergency management quarterly report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Boys and Girls Club malt beverage permit.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Fikert, second by Sutton to approve the Boys and Girls Club malt permit for the Brown County Fair. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have the treasurer's report for second quarter interest.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss to approve the treasury report for second quarter interest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So, Kathy?
Yep, that's everything, yeah.
I just saw Bob Jacobs go by, and I had a conversation with him yesterday. He said they targeted the 15th of, when is that, Friday? No.
Yep, Friday.
No.
Thursday.
Thursday, to close.
Okay.
This coming?
Yeah. That is if he can get Ross and Gosh together to close on the 15th on that.
Correct, I was gonna talk to you guys about that. Yeah.
And Bob told me he hadn't stopped and picked up the $1,000 and he didn't care if we kept the interest we collected on it.
On the 15th, they're
32
closing it.
cents.
Does the chair have to be present for that closing?
I got an email yesterday, I'd like somebody there.
I'll try to be there.
Well, normally the chair has to sign those documents, doesn't it? I mean,
Well, I've got the easement here, so I thought we'd just do that today.
okay.
And I think we can handle it.
Moving along.
And then
Why
once
is
I
it
get a
slow?
final total with the title insurance and all that, I'll let Kathy know.
Okay.
Slow. So slow.
Is the DOT's SIP meeting tonight? Is that right?
I think it is.
It is, Alyssa?
That way at home.
Okay.
There was no sheet for commission.
I haven't decided if I'm gonna be able to make it or not, I got something else, but I just had that on my calendar. If anybody is interested.
American, right?
American, yep, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Would you like to get to those when you're done? I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, that's that quarterly grant.
Let's see, when is the north, or the district
Kinda
meeting?
Gets lean, but it's important to get
Is it
represented.
16th of, no,
The Lake Region?
yeah, Lake Region.
22nd.
22nd, which is a week from this coming Thursday.
Yep.
Correct. Pickerel Lake Lodge.
They'll have one more chance for a reminder.
Also tonight, anybody wanting to volunteer for fair, they're having that open house at the clubhouse from 6:30 to 8, so if you know anybody, send them out there for sign-up. They're giving away prizes and food.
I
Good
might
time.
be there if we need it.
Judging for pie and...
Yeah, there you go.
Sugar rush
Could we
for
have
2
a-
days.
Could we just have a...
You and I've done that.
Could we have a preview, or how, what would you call it, a run? Just see how it works?
Yeah.
Maybe have them bring a few pies tonight?
Do we have to put on the agenda regarding our rental agreements with our outside dump site
Yeah, we should review those.
for next week?
You got anything this week?
Must be coming up for renewal, the one up at Elm Lake.
Lake.
So we might as well get a recap of all of them. Mike.
Negotiated by mutual consent.
Right.
Well, the first thought that went through my mind on that deal was whether or not there was another place, another spot for that dump site, but there's a fence there. I'm sure that the landfill's got that all fenced out. You know,
Our fence or
so
their
there'd be
fence
a
or
cost
whatever.
to move the fence too, you know what I'm saying? But-
Yeah.
Because what's he want, $2,000 a year, that's $10,000 in 5 years, if we had a 5-year contract again.
How about we just buy it?
Buy something, it's not that, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Well, I think
Why
that's
is
what
there
will be on the agenda for next Tuesday to discuss this and see where we end up, but it'd be nice to review some of the other ones
So
at the same time.
specifically, top is Lake, but then just have
Right.
Mike bring a review. of it.
Right.
Right.
Where are we at?
So we gotta, right, who's gonna call Mike and let him know that, give him a heads up, he might wanna have some information in
I
that
can
too.
call Mike.
Okay, anything else come before the commission?
Give him a heads up to, Rachel on, the closing, he should be part of it.
Pretty quiet.
What time is it?
I don't know if that time has been established yet.
Well, then what do I tell him?
Just
Or we-
Just on the 16th, you should probably check
I don't
with
even know half the
Ross
things,
as
but I
far as
did
what
some
time
notes, and I'll tell
the
Neil
closing
and-
will be. And maybe you don't have to be there
He'll
either.
explain
Just the
something.
fact that we're getting
Mike's
close.
got anything on the closing? Do you need him there for anything?
I should.
Okay.
But he's welcome to be there.
They just wanted to schedule a time, so I was gonna wait and see if anybody wanted to go.
Okay.
And then Scott Mines just sent the mutual aid agreement between Brown County and Ag Tech Rep.
Oh, that's right.
So if we wanna put that on the agenda for next week too.
Yeah, can you forward it to me?
I will.
It's not on the agenda, but
Then the other item probably would be discussion on the burn ban. If we get rain tonight, tomorrow again, do we leave it on, or does that come off automatically, or how was it set up? I guess we could probably discuss that next Tuesday, we want to leave it on.
you mentioned our last resolution left it on indefinitely or until further action.
Yeah, that was the...
It's on until we take it
Until
off. We have
further
to make
notice.
it.
Yeah.
So we gotta start putting it on every week till we get it off. To either renew or...
Let's put it on the agenda for next week to consider. Let's see what this week brings. Y'all
I
agree?
know we got some people that would like to have it off,
Yeah.
Yep.
big time.
We keep getting a little bit of rain, it would help.
All the videos are now up to date. IT got that done and they're under approval, so I know there's people asking about former meetings, so they could watch those.
Still a bit behind.
I just approved them all, and I looked
Okay.
online, they were all, the links were there. Did they not?
I thought they were only from May.
Did you look today?
Oh, it was one. Started following up with them too on it.
Submission, unless the links don't work. The videos are all there through July 6th.
Okay, so I have to look on that.
Yep. They were approved over the weekend.
You have a really tough time trying to get to sleep.
Yeah. So those are all good. That's all I got.
Well, if that's it, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Biker, second by Weiss to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.